the younger children who can't walk, still depending on their parents for one or two. The older generation, too old to work on their own and do certain things for themselves. The special needs children, children with autism and dyslexia, all these are under the category of dependent people in the society. And Nigeria is not left out. We have a lot of them, a whole number of them in Nigeria. This is State of the Culture brought to you by Izesan. I am Nifisat Ovnen Abdurrahman, your host. And guys, today we'll be talking about the neglect of dependent people in Nigeria. With me today is a special person. You can see how beautiful she is. It's the side smile for me, guys. Her name is INDIANAVON Dangaru. She's a special needs education consultant, a therapist. She also trains teachers, for special needs students and what have you. And before I forget, guys, she is the founder of Indie Educational Consult. Hello.
Hello, Nafisat.
It's nice to have you
It's
here.
a pleasure.
And you look good, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I know a lot of people are dependent people, dependent people, dependent people. Who are dependent people?
Okay, first of all, my name is INDIANAVON Dangaru Anenga. You skip the last one. Yeah, so dependent people are people who need substantial support from other people to be able to carry out with their normal lives. So, for example, we have children who depend on their parents for food, shelter, education, and others. We also have some children or persons with learning difficulties who depend on some form of specialized education for them to be able to learn effectively. We also have some group of independent persons who are handicapped, like those on wheelchair, that can't even
cripple.
That cannot move until there's someone to support them. So we have different classes of dependent persons in the society. Yeah.
What tribe are you?
My tribe is Baju, and the language is Jew.
So you're Jew from Baju,
yes,
from Kaduna State.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my question here is there a term for dependent persons in Jew?
Yeah, there is.
Really?
Yes, there is.
So what is it?
Okay, so it's called Kokonak.
Kokonak.
Yes, Kokonak. If it's singular, that's one person, a dependent person. Kokonak. Then for the plural is Nakonak.
Nakonak.
Yes.
What a different way of having singular and plural.
Yes,
I need to get this straight.
For you.
I need to get this straight because I have some friends from Kaduna State and I'm going to like Kokonak.
Yes, and Nakonak.
Nakonak.
Yes.
Wow, it's an interesting language, I must confess.
It is.
Hope you don't mind teaching me one or two.
Why not? The little I know, right?
No, you don't sound like somebody that knows just a little, I must confess.
I know a little.
Okay, so we come across these people everywhere, if not every day in our life. From children to adults, to old persons, to handicapped people in quotes, and what have you. And before now, society had ways of treating these people. Society had a different attitude towards these people. It's either in the olden days, people say it's maybe as a result of an offense, a family is being punished, and what have you. Some people look at it from all sorts of angles. In this 21st century, what would you say is the society's attitudes towards dependent persons, from children to adults to handicapped?
Okay, so in this 21st century, first of all, I'll talk about the school system. The school system as an entity. We see a lot of negative attitudes. Yes. So I'll give you an example. There was this child I was working with. She's now in the UK. She's on a wheelchair. And then she has cerebral palsy, so she drools. Saliva always comes down and all that. So one other parent came and said to the director of the school that no, she doesn't want her daughter to be in the same class with this person.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
a parent, I mean, in this 21st century,
in this Abuja,
a parent went to school
to tell the director of the school that she doesn't want her child to be in the same class with this child on wheelchair. So the mother of the special needs child was really upset. You know, she called me. Indianavon, what should I do? I said, this is what you do. Does the school has a parents platform? She said yes. I said, okay, go to the school platform. I want you to educate the parents about cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is not an airborne disease, for God's sake.
It's not contractable.
You know, so she had to, in fact, she went on to tell them how the daughter even got the cerebral palsy and all that, you know. So many people were like, oh, thank you for educating us and all that. So I think negative attitudes will always spring up as a result of lack of information.
Enough information.
Yes, you know.
Lack of awareness.
Exactly, because some parents think that because you are in the same class with the child, with a special needs child, their child can easily contract this, you know. And then another aspect is bullying. I'm talking about the school. Bullying, you know, we see a lot of regular children bullying the special needs children because the special needs will have different categories. There are some that can't even speak. You know, they can't. They are so dependent. In fact, they are just coming to school so they can learn that social integration, not necessarily because they are learning the academic aspect. Yes. So you see a lot of bullying from both the children and even the teachers. Yes, because sometimes we have to go and educate the regular teachers. Some of them don't even know what special needs is all about, you know. Which is why I think that anybody going through the education training system in the university should have some form of electives on special education. So that they can be able to have enough knowledge on how to handle these learners in their classrooms. Then coming to the society at large, we see a lot of segregation. For example, when last did you go to a birthday party and then you see a child on a wheelchair or something?
I'm not really a party person.
Yeah, but let's say the few party we see on the TV or something, you know,
it's hard. It's difficult.
Hard. So it's not as if this child does not have friends or classmates that are dependent, but because of how the society segregates them, we always tend to keep them away from the social. Yes, so that's one thing that the society is doing. Another thing is I think some of them experience some form of cyberbullying for the adults. You know, when you post a picture, it's either they start body shaming you and all that. You know, a lot of things goes in there, and it end up affecting the dependent person's psychology. You know, leading to mental health disorder and all that. You know. Yes. Then another aspect is even in places of worship, you notice that some places have a different place carved for persons with people on wheelchair or dependent person. It doesn't occur in all, but I've noticed a few, you know. And then some of these places there are no ramps for those that are on wheelchair.
Anyway, we'll get to the issue of accessibility.
It's all right.
Now, you talk finding indie educational consult. How did you get here? Like, I'm curious. I want to know what motivated you. What was the inspiration behind the foundation? I want to know.
Okay, so I'm a graduate of special education. At when I was in 200 level, there's this course we did called practicum. So during the practicum, it's we get exposed to special needs children. The school is owned by the university.
Okay.
So you are expected to do at least a 3 months training there.
Wow.
So while there, I interacted with a lot of children, different categories were joined together. Mental retardation, hearing impaired, deaf, those on wheelchair, a lot were in one environment, you know. So I was assigned to work with one family. One family had 2 children with special needs. I was working with the 2 children, you know. So we expected to work with them in the school and then at home. Yes. So each time
So after school hours, you
follow
home.
Yes, you follow the child to the child's house and still work for like 1 hour before you close. Because the SS, that's a lot. It is a lot, you know. But I'm glad. I'm glad I did that. So the stress of going to the house, the father was a pastor. In fact, he kept telling me that he saw his children talk in his dream and all that. So I kept asking myself, is this profession for me? You know, I went back. This was around 200 level. So I told my level coordinator, I said, I want a change of course. Because I wanted to study medicine.
Oh, wow.
Yes. She sat me down and counseled me. You know, so I had a rethink. That was the time I had that passion for children with special needs. So eventually, I proceeded and graduated with the course, you know. So when I graduated, I came to Abuja. I was still schooling from Abuja, you know. I told you I've been in Abuja for, I think it should be about 18 years now. So I came to Abuja. I worked with few schools and I encountered children with special needs who were not given
the proper
intervention. Yes, the proper intervention. It was just the regular teaching, everything, one for all. But for special need, we don't do that, you know. There were no enough special needs teachers. I'm talking about 14 years ago. Yes, I started my career quite early. There were no teachers to even take care of these children, you know. So I said, okay, before I can be able to give my own quota, I think it's wise I work with few schools.
Sure.
So I work with few schools in Kubwa. I proceeded to tender years in town and Premier International School in Wuse too. So it was while I was there, the directors couldn't really get the exact picture of how the intervention should be like. Yes, but the good thing is they are open that yes, these children need intervention. So how can we go about that, you know? So that's how we were able to set up programs. We did differentiation in the learning aspects and all that. So while working in the school, I felt I didn't have enough space to showcase what I have, you know, because the school system has hierarchy for doing things and all that, you know. So I had to break out. I registered my company. It wasn't easy. And then I resigned. I resigned to start up my own company. I started from freelancing. I was working more with people in Lagos and Port Harcourt, funny enough.
But why?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, you said it that you had met a lot of these kids in Abuja already.
Yes. So because I needed to build a bigger market, Lagos has it. Lagos is there already. So I had more business in Lagos. They will pay my flight, accommodation, just come. Because they feel I have the knowledge, I have what they need. So I was always going to Lagos. Do you know that the contacts I still working with in Abuja got my contact from my
Somebody
partners
in
in
Lagos.
Lagos.
Are you serious? And
Because
you are in
I am
Abuja.
in Abuja because you know how Abuja is. Sometimes you want to penetrate somewhere and you don't have the connection. Yes, it's connection.
True.
You don't have the connection to get to that place. So those partners, my partners in Lagos, were actually the people who made me known in Abuja. You know, I think between 2016 and 2018 was like the peak of my career because like every month I was on the radio or TV creating awareness on special needs. So that's about
I
IndieConsult.
must say that's an interesting
Thank
story.
you.
It's
Thank
not
you.
easy.
It's
You've
not.
done a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, we have different types of neglect when it
Yes.
comes to dependent persons.
Yes.
There are times where these persons are emotionally neglected. I particularly feel dependent person are mostly emotionally neglected. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it takes a lot, especially when you meet people that can't speak or can't hear. These two people in particular,
Yeah.
you don't even know how they feel. So sometimes it takes a lot to even go into them
Yeah,
when it
well,
comes to emotions. So we have the emotional neglect. We also have physical neglect, which is
Yes.
glaring. It's glaring.
Yes.
Everybody can see that. Oh, this child is not well taken
You're
care
not well
of.
taken care of.
This handicapped person is not well taken care of, and what have you. They are physically neglected as much as they are emotionally neglected.
Yeah.
Are there other forms of neglect when it comes to dependent persons?
Yeah, we also have medical neglect where an independent person is being neglected on the aspect of health. So, for example, the dependent person complains that they are not feeling fine and all that, and then the carer just neglects
and leaves them at home.
Until that case becomes serious. In some cases, it could even lead to death.
Whoa.
Yes, that's when they will not start
rushing
running
them to the hospital.
Yes. So there's also medical neglect. Another aspect is educational neglect.
True.
So you know that education is a fundamental tool.
Yes, it is.
For every child, you know. So imagine where the child is unable to go to school because the carer feels or thinks that they don't need the school, they don't need the education. True. You know. But looking at education cuts across the four walls of the classroom.
Yes, it does.
You know, like few days ago, I was driving. I saw a girl of about 7 years. She was helping the mom sell food. And then I asked myself, I said, is this child not supposed to be in school? Because I know that the government schools are free. Yes, the government schools are free.
Are they entirely free?
They are free. I think it's just the uniform that the parent need to sew and all that.
Well, I don't know of now.
Yeah.
But I think in my junior class, I attended black and white school.
Okay.
I was the first set where they gave us that navy blue uniform.
Wow, really?
Yes. She can relate. I was the first set where they gave us that navy blue uniform with sky blue uniform. It was my set. They brought that uniform. So I think then we were paying around 900 naira. I was in just one. We paid around 900 naira. Then you also need to get your books, textbooks, and what have you, and other smaller things. There are times you need to pay for one or two, I think, enter house but also, but I don't know if it's entirely free now. So I'm just saying I don't think government is entirely free.
Let's say it's not as expensive
as it is
as other private schools. That I think that that parents should be able to take their children to school. Because look at the child who is out of school today. In the next 20 years, is this same class of people or persons that will be interacting with the ones that have been with the ones that have gone to school, even acquire university education.
True.
You know, so somehow their lack of education will still affect the society.
Whether we like it or not.
Yes, whether we like it or not. If we don't tackle it now, it will definitely appear later. So perhaps I think we should have uniforms should be given for free, textbooks should be given for free in the government school, so that the regular parents will not complain of anything. She will
They
know
don't
that
have
her role is
excuses
just to take the child and
to
enroll the
school.
child in school without so educational neglect is in fact is one of the tools that we need for a better economy
So
as
we
a
have the
country.
physical neglect, the emotional neglect,
Yeah.
medical neglect,
Yeah.
and educational
Yeah,
neglect.
and there's something in that emotional neglect, you know how emotions are.
Yeah.
So most times we feel that because they are dependent people, they shouldn't have emotions.
Why shouldn't
Have
they?
you? No, like they feel.
Yeah.
In cases that I've seen, why must you have this? Why must you have this? When you know that the child is within that age. Okay, for example, the teenage age group is actually one that is very, very dangerous.
True.
Yes, because
that
once
age is
it comes with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I think emotional neglect and education we need to pay
more attention.
more attention to.
Yeah. I think I can relate to what you're saying. People feel because this category of persons are
like
dependent
this.
on them.
Yes,
they shouldn't have a say.
Yeah,
they shouldn't
very true.
feel certain way.
Yes.
They shouldn't feel offended.
Yes.
We need to understand that for a start, these people are human beings.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not, everyone has emotions.
Very
Everyone is entitled to feel a certain way at a particular time. And look at these people. They can't just wake up and be happy. And because there's this thing of, as a human being, I personally hate to wait for people to do things for me. So I can understand if those people wake up one day and are irritated. You get, I have to wait for you to do this. I have to, when I'm hungry, I have to wait for you to bring the food for people that are handicapped.
Yeah.
And because you're not the one who is hungry, you want to take your time, if care is not taken, to prepare the meal.
Very
So
true.
all those things, and these people are human beings. So having talked about types of neglect, what are the factors in the society that precipitates, like, what are the factors that influences neglect?
One of the factors are, I'll relate age to it, age of parents. So let's look at the very young parents who has not even finished taking care of themselves.
That one is a dependent taking care of another dependent.
So I think age plays a vital role. Yes, age plays a vital role in this, because some category. Okay, let me even shock you. Do you know that there are some parents that don't know that it is important to take their children to school, even the primary education?
Don't tell me, please.
Yes. I'm from the north. There was a time I was working with one NGO. I saw a lot. When we were interviewing them, lucky for me, I speak Hausa.
Yeah.
So I was even talking with them in Hausa. This woman told me that she does not even know that it is the right of the child to be enrolled in a school.
And then you gave birth to this child.
Yes, yes.
Whoa.
Yes. So education still comes to play in the aspect of age. Some of them are just mothers. They do not know what they need to do to take care of their children. Yes. Then there's another category that these carefree parents, nonchalant. Yes, they feel that certain things are not important because maybe them too were denied those rights. So they feel it's not important for them to also provide.
I know those types. The types that will be like, after all, I didn't go to school, so why must you go to school?
Exactly.
But are we not parents to give our children the better life we didn't get? Are we not supposed to make our children better than what and who we are?
Well, I bet your statement is because of your exposure.
Whoa.
Yes. It is your exposure that made you understand that you should even give your child the best. Like more than what you had. So a lot of, as someone was saying something about one country that they don't go? Is it South Korea or which country?
They
They don't travel out. There's this restriction in the country. No social media, nothing. So she was saying that it is because we have tested freedom. That is why we now understood that freedom is our right. So those people that have not
tasted it,
they are very okay and comfortable in that cycle.
It's true. You only miss what you've had before.
Exactly. So where they are, they don't know that education is very important. They don't know that understanding the psychology of the child is very important. They feel they can just do anything because that was how they were also brought up. Yes. And then another aspect of what can trigger that, okay, let's look at poverty. Truly, some cannot afford.
True.
Some cannot afford.
Because a lot of people are below poverty line in Nigeria.
Very true.
Some people can hardly even afford a square meal. Talk more of clothing,
even
proper housing.
1 meal per day they can't. Yes. So poverty plays another role in that.
Yeah. Okay. Earlier on, when you were talking about how the society's attitudes towards dependent person, specifically in Nigeria, you made mention of accessibility.
Yes.
Sometimes you go to a certain place and you don't find ramps for people. Now, how would you describe the level of accessibility of facilities to dependent persons? In simple terms, do you think they have equal access to facilities in Nigeria the way we do? That was a straight answer.
Yes, it is, because everywhere I go to, I check, I see, I observe. You understand? So first, of course, is the RAM. I would say is only most of the government hospitals have RAMs. I think that is the only place I've seen more of RAMs. And then ShopRite.
Yeah.
So you see
ShopRite
yes.
is.
So when you get to ShopRite, you even see the parking slot allocated for someone on wheelchair.
True. True.
And then the so-called normal person will still go and park there. Do you understand?
That's so true. I've experienced it. It's so true.
So we as a society have not even understood what that sign is for. For we to be taking that space, Yeah. So I think what's it called now? The architects, they need to pay more attention when bringing up structures.
But do you think it's all about the architects?
Well, when you come to me as a business person or an entrepreneur that you want to build something, I think I stand a better chance of advising you on how best the structure should be.
True.
And because you come to me, there's a high tendency that you're going to agree to my suggestions, So that's why I'm calling on the architect, because they are the ones that give these structural designs to persons.
So what do they do in cases where their advices are not being taken?
Okay, well, then I'll go back to Nigeria as a country. Maybe we need to enforce a law that every building must have a ramp. If truly you want to make your building inclusive in such a way that it can be accessible to all categories of people in the country. Yes. So I think we need to have a law.
And that includes banks, everywhere, banks, even some private hospitals. Yes. In fact, permit me to say,
even some houses.
A lot of houses.
So
a lot of houses.
The person, the estate surveyor is not just building houses for normal people, so-called normal people, because there's actually nothing like that.
So nobody's normal.
Nobody is normal. We always have
we always have one problem or the other.
Yes. So while building houses, they should consider such, because there are some persons on wheelchair that can drive.
True.
Yeah. So we should be able to make the roads in such a way that while in the car, they don't need to struggle with the
driving,
and
the
all
wheels.
that. Yes, So there's a lot we can do. We know what to do. It's just for us to agree that we want to do it.
It's just for us to accept that this
That
is our
yes,
duty.
exactly.
Okay, we've talked
Exactly.
about forms of neglect,
Yeah.
types of neglect, and causes of neglect.
Yeah.
But how do we recognize a dependent person that is suffering neglect? Like, how do we know this person is being neglected? Because I particularly feel that's the first step. If we actually want to help, we need to be able to recognize these people. Oh, okay, this person is suffering from neglect, before we now go ahead to think of how do we come in as a society, how do we help this person, what are we supposed to do, how do we provide care, and how to provide care for these people. So how do we recognize people? What are the signs of neglect in dependent persons?
Okay, so we can identify some physically. When you see them,
Yeah, the clothing, how they are looking.
yes, you can be able to identify that this person is being neglected. Another one is this one entails close interaction with the persons.
Okay.
The emotions. You should be able to know, to identify some of them that may be going through some form of depression, because negligence can actually lead to depression. It leads to a whole lot of things that can take the person into that depressive state. Then another aspect is in terms of the school. For those of them with learning disabilities, you could see that they are not that you could see that they are performing below average. So you can be able to step in and then conduct an assessment, a further assessment
on the
to
child.
to see if the child's challenge is not as a result of bad teaching, because there are actually some that are not learning because the teacher is not teaching well. Yes, so that assessment is going to tell you the root
what
cause
the problem
of,
is actually.
Yes.
Okay. We focused more on children since we started our discussion. But at the beginning of the show, we made mention that there are also old people who are dependent. In fact, all old people are dependent because some of them are health issues, physical issues, and what have you. 60, 65, 70, whether we like it or not, they are gradually becoming dependent. And then we have some who, in the space of this age, within this age range, they begin to lose their memories and what have you. Do we have enough care homes for these people in Nigeria?
Well, in my recent research, we don't have much to even start with. We have not accepted that we need care homes.
I agree with you.
Because in Nigeria, once you work and you retire back to the village. So a lot of things happen in the village, you know. And then sometimes I think some old people die early because of some kind of
neglect.
Yeah, they face in the village, you know, because imagine life in the city,
neglect
there's
and
electricity,
rejection.
there's this one, so
they are being neglected and rejected. So when you come, when they go back, when they retire and go back to the village people have this ideology, he's from the city, she's from the city, so she should be okay. They don't care how you are living.
And sometimes they may not even understand how to relate with you because you have lived all your life in the city, you know.
In the city. So it's also advisable that once in a while you go back to your roots, just in case things like this come up.
Very true.
So still talking about special needs and dependent person. You teach children with autism spectrum disorder. Have you ever felt like teaching them with indigenous languages would help fasten their level of understanding? Do you think, have you ever thought of it? Has it ever come across your mind that, oh, maybe are there chances that teaching children in their indigenous languages would help fasten their understanding of particular subjects or what have you? I mean, most times these children are familiar to those languages in their homes.
Okay. When it comes to special needs children, most of the special needs conditions are neurological in nature, which means it has to do with the poor development of the brain. So in most cases, it is that part of the brain that is responsible for word formation, interpretation of language, and all that is being affected. So having said that, you realize that it's a bit difficult to teach them in their indigenous language. In fact, these are persons who they are just living in the house. They do not form relationships
with others,
with the siblings. You know, they don't even call mom. They don't know that this is mom. You know, mother and child love and bond. It's not there with most of these children, you know. So actually it's very difficult for them, because we are working on them to even learn how to speak English language. Is it their language that they will be able to comprehend, you know? Then okay, I remember I was doing speech therapy to one child that was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. When they came to me, the child was not talking. But I worked with the child for about 6 months, and then the child started talking. Do you know that there was this day the child came to school and he was telling me Ekaro. Yes, he was telling me Ekaro. So I was like, who is teaching you Ekaro? I called the mom. I said, Miss Indiana, my husband said that the other children grew up without learning Yoruba, that we should start teaching Yoruba since he started talking. Do you know that at that particular month, he had lost the other languages that he has learned?
So he only understood Yoruba at that moment.
He was just, even the Yoruba, he was just saying Ekaro. So there's no understanding. You understand? I will tell him, do this, he will tell me Ekaro. So it's not as if it was when he came to school and then he greets me Ekaro, then I'll understand that it is actually him greeting me. So the action and the word do not correspond. You know, so I had to tell the mom, I said, please keep Yoruba aside. Let him master the act of language. Because language is two ways, receptive and expressive, you know. So let him understand both before you go into teaching him Yoruba. So in most cases, it's difficult.
So what about children with dyslexia?
Now, we have different categories of dyslexia. There are some children with dyslexia that are very expressive. Those ones will do excellently during debates, you know. But when it comes to writing
and reading,
yes, they find it difficult to put down already learned tasks into writing, you know, because that part of the brain that is responsible for word formation, you know, as we are writing, is the brain that is controlling. Yes. So and also you see some writing the letters opposite, the other way around. That's because that's how the brain is interpreting. It is however the brain gives them that they give you. You understand? So for them, we have a specialized instruction for them. Yes, especially dyslexia. So you see another form of dyslexia, when you read to them, they understand very well. They understand. And then they understand now, right? When you ask them to write, they write. By tomorrow,
they forget everything.
Everything. Like
everything.
Everything.
Oh goodness. Where are you going to start from?
So you have to start again.
Whoa.
Yes, you have to start again. So working with children with learning disability is not easy.
At all.
It's not easy. But it's our field, we are trained, you know. So we have special method. That is why most times we have to pull them from the class for a one-on-one intervention, because it's an intervention that when it's being given in the general class, other children may distract the child. In fact, other children may ask you, why are they not being given the same
attention?
Yes,
true.
Children are very sensitive.
Not
and
just
all.
children, human
Even
beings in
adult,
general. Human
So-
beings in general, you begin
so-
to feel like, is he the only one? Is it the why is
Exactly.
this? What's making him special? And what
In
have
fact,
you?
sometimes we have to educate the neurotypical children. The neurotypical are those ones without any special
Issues.
needs. Yes, we have to educate them to understand
The
that
needs of the
of this,
dependent
yes, and
ones.
why we are doing what we are doing, so that they won't go home and tell their parents, teacher A is giving special attention to this person. Yes.
Okay, I understand now that it's difficult to even consider teaching dependents, special needs children now, because they are a particular category
Group,
under
yes,
dependent
yes.
persons. It's difficult to even think of teaching them in our indigenous languages.
Yeah.
What about other people with this disorder of hearing or speaking and what have you? I know some of these people are being taught sign languages.
Yes.
Are there ways to incorporate indigenous languages?
Okay.
I'm asking because I feel it should be easier for them because of the society, the environment. I don't know. You're the specialist here.
Okay, so let me give you a typical Nigerian scenario. I am from Kaduna, and in Kaduna, I know we have more than 20 languages.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's say my own language is just Jew. And then the child I encounter in the classroom that I'm working with is Igbo. So if I want to inculcate the child's indigenous language, which is Igbo, into the sign language, it means that I have to understand Igbo before I can be able
to do that.
You understand? And then the sign language we use, which is the American Sign Language, is being given to us in English language. In the university, it was taught in English language. Yes. So how do we go about designing that? It's going to be another research that I'll be so interested to participate in, because you have to understand most of the Nigerian languages so that you can be able to teach the child in that sign language. Then for children with hearing impairments, some of them use hearing aid. That's the ones that the cochlea is not so bad. Yes, maybe it's just the outer ear that is bad. So they get a hearing aid. So with that hearing aid, they're able to hear what we say. So and what respond. We train them, no. Now the response comes in odd, in inappropriate tone of voice. Yes, because they cannot hear themselves very well.
Yeah.
But they can easily hear what you are saying. Then we start to give them speech therapy intervention in such a way that what they say is within the normal human hearing and all that. Yes. So and then as time goes on, they get to master it when they are adults. So you could even see them function as if there's no issue. Because the hearing aid is just like earpiece, they can just put it on and you will not even
do their normal thing.
So how I know when I see adults with hearing aid is some of them, there's that temptation of tilting towards the better ear. So there's always one ear that hears more than the other. Yeah, so you see them tilting towards that direction. Then I know it's not earpieces.
We've talked about the issues, society, these people, the type of neglect they go through and what causes them. What are the effects of even neglecting these people on the society? I know let's start from what are the effects on them as dependent persons?
Okay, so one of them is you see brain degradation. So brain degradation in the sense that, let's say 5 years ago you interacted with this person, he's very intelligent and all that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, because of the negligence that he had, you will see that the dependent person has lost those skills. Yes, he has lost those skills, you know. So then developmental delay.
True.
You agree with me that development is both in size and then in what's the other one now?
Psychological.
Yes, you know. So you see that they are just there, but they are not improving.
They are not growing.
They are not growing. They are not growing mentally because they have been in a place of isolation. You know,
for a long
yes,
time.
for a long time. So that is those. Another one is you get to see some of them might develop multiple personality disorder. So because they know that whenever I am here, I'm being neglected, so I have a particular way that I behave when I'm here.
There.
When I go there, because I'm being accepted in the other society, I have a particular way that I behave, you know. And this is not good for the
dependent person.
Yeah, it's
and
not
even
good for
society.
even the society, because it means that when you are talking about this person, they say, "Oh, are you sure it's the same person that I know?" You know, things like that.
Yes.
I'm sure you might have heard things like that. Are you sure it's this person I know that you're talking about?
I can't
like
believe
this?
he did.
Yeah,
He can't do that. I don't believe you.
Exactly. Then another aspect is a lot of people shy away from this, but they can be suicidal. Yes. Because a lot
at
have
the end
gone,
of the day, they will lose self-worth.
a lot have gone into their emotions. You have allowed them to start analyzing things that are not visible or things that are not right in their head. And then the head has been conditioned to start thinking in a particular way that suicidal thoughts can come in. You know, another one is dependent persons tend to have low self-esteem when being neglected.
Yeah.
You know, they feel, okay, since you have put them in a place of, like, maybe, let me say, no importance, they feel that they don't have anything tangible to contribute to the society. Yes. Then isolation on its own. Because you have isolated them or because you have neglected them, they can decide to go on self-isolation. This one now is being caused because of that negligence. You know. And then from that isolation, before you know it, mental health issues start coming in.
And that's when
depression,
suicidal thoughts come
yes,
in.
Everything comes in.
Their brain is not busy.
Exactly.
No people around to
interact
with.
Yes.
So all sorts of imagination,
Yes.
wild imaginations
In fact,
are coming through.
In fact, negligence makes a dependent person to be a host of so many psychological disorders. Yes, I think that's the umbrella term
of everything.
It makes them susceptible to psychological disorders.
So do you think, obviously it has an effect on the society because we are carrying all these things, and whether we like it or not, whatever affects these people affects us because they are a part of the population. And we're not talking about one person, we're not talking about two persons, we have a number of them out there.
A lot.
It's 1 out of 10 houses has a dependent person.
Yeah.
In fact, in every household, it's either there's an old person or there's a little child.
Yeah.
And mind you, a dependent person is not just somebody that has special needs.
No. Yeah.
A dependent person is your 2-year-old child, your 5-year-old child, your child who is still growing up, and what have you. So what is the effect now? What are the effects now of neglecting these people in the society?
We end up having more dysfunctional adults. You know, because if that 2-year-old, 3-year-old is being neglected and the system continues like that, the child grows to become a dysfunctional adult. You know, and then he marries
and has a dysfunctional home
and has a wife that anything can lead to arguments and then domestic violence. It's a circle.
Yes, it is.
It is a circle because anything that is not being taken care of when when a dependent person is a baby. It means that the dependent person has a tendency of growing with it. It is only a few that when they get to a particular stage in their lives, because of exposure, because of the love they receive from people or friends, they tend to outgrow such feelings. But most times, it's always there. It's always there. It's not easy. It's not easy. A father refusing to pay the school fees of his child just because he's out of the marriage is a negligence, you know. It is on that part of the child, because maybe the woman doesn't have anything to do, you know. So I think when we study this in detail, you see that almost everyone is guilty. Yes, almost everyone is guilty. There's another one, you know. When it comes to communication, in the African culture, I feel we don't have a good rapport with our children. True. Because of father, you know, when daddy enters, everybody
I'm your dad. You can't talk to me like that. Yeah. Oh, this is daddy's chair. This is this. This is that. So
I think we need to bring that. We need to break that jinx. Yes. It's not about being disrespectful, no. But as a carer, or as someone that has a dependent person at home, I think you need to adjust your lifestyle to accommodate everyone. I know we may have a lot of parents who are very busy, but it's important you spend time with your child. I have a toddler. She's just 8 months old. You see, I needed to call before
the show started.
You understand? Because I have to make sure that everything...
She's okay. She's comfortable.
Yes. So everyone is guilty. We just
I've also learned. I've learned a lot too.
I'm glad.
So let's round this up. How do you think society can improve when it comes to dependent persons? I know for one, you're going to see we need to create facilities. We need to include them whenever we are designing facilities, because I mean, they are part of the society. We can't keep neglecting them. And then some medical centers too need to have put them into consideration. You go to some medical centers and they don't have this, they don't have that. Sometimes you need to go to a different state entirely to take care of your dependent person, your special needs child, and what have you. And even the schools, some schools don't have the expertise to teach the children. They don't have the facilities to aid teaching and what have you. So how can we improve as a society when it comes to dependent persons? How do we incorporate them into our daily life?
I will start with the school because I'm in the education sector. So I will say this, as a school owner, if you know you do not have the facilities to take care of this special needs child, don't even admit them at first. Yes, because in the Nigerian constitution, they say education is for all. There's no any other clause outside that. Education is for all. You have understood this and you have decided to open a school of learning, you know. So if you know that you do not have the facility of taking care of a child with special needs, don't admit. If you admit, make sure you seek for where to get special needs teachers that will give the child these interventions. Because some of the school, the child is just paying school fees. He's just an attendant of the class. That is all. He's just a participant rather of the class. That's all. His needs are not being met, you know. That's one. Then calling on those who are comfortable, you know, those that can help. I think they should help. Look around you, your society. That woman by your street that is selling akara, that the children don't go to school. I think you can do something. You can come in. Dependent persons must not necessarily be related to us. You know, people who have enough can assist. I know some NGOs that we are doing they were creating awareness with 5,000 naira, you can train a child in a public school and all that, And when I saw it, I was so impressed. I was like, okay, I'm interested. And then, so aside training the child, they also put you in a place of mentorship. You can actually mentor the child so that the child doesn't have the feeling that after school I'll go back to start selling akara like the mother and all that. So people who can, please, they should help. Yes. And then in the aspect of socialization, I think the society need to do more.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say a person on a wheelchair, can she swim comfortably? I think we should have such accommodation that people, that dependent persons can also enjoy their leisure time. So how do we do that? I think every organization should have one or two special needs teachers that can be able to take through with all these things, because they can't do everything.
Yeah.
Some may try to do everything, but it's not your area. It's not your aspect. It's not as if you receive any training. Except you receive any training, then you can be able
to handle most of it.
To give some form of remedial before the main or before the specialist comes, and all that. And then to the government, I know recently, excuse me, the Disability Act was approved.
Yeah, of course.
So I believe and hope that the content of those are going to be integrated into the society. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in,
You're
Jana.
welcome.
Guys, I'm sure you've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of differences. What some of the issues that are not even, these are issues we see, but we don't even know that this is what this issue is telling us. This is what the issue is and what have you. So you said you're Jew by tribe.
Yes.
So you're going to tell the audience something in your tribe.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay, I will say Ngwai. That's thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Ngwai.
Yes.
Thank you. Dependent person. Don't tell me I forgot it.
Okay, I said Nakona and Kokonak.
Kokonak is for singular.
Yes.
And Nakonak is for plural.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
You're
coming.
welcome.
Like, really, I enjoyed my time with
You're
you.
welcome.
And I'm sure everyone out there did. Guys, please, if you know any dependent person, you mustn't give them all. You can start by just smiling at them. That's where it all begins from. Give them a smile, show them you're there, be emotionally available for these people. We're all going through a lot, I know. As individuals, as a community, as a country, we are all going through a lot. Imagine what these people are going through. From me, Nefisat Ovnena Abdurrahman, I hope to see you some other time, Indiana.
Sure. I'm always available.
All right, guys, make sure you like, comment, and share our videos. Also, click the follow button. Bye. See you in the next episode.